How do we make the most out of Holy Week? That's a question I wish I received more than I do, but I want to give 4 practical answers to that. And for those of you who haven't thought through Holy Week, I actually made a video last year talking about Protestant views on Holy Week and some biblical and historical arguments. I can put that video in the description down below if anyone's interested in that. But I just wanted to speak practically and just give 4 quick ways that we can maximize the benefits and the blessings of Holy Week in our lives. And the first one is just to attend a Holy Week services. So many churches will have a Palm Sunday service, a Good Friday service, and then an Easter service. And we should attend all of those. In our case, we're going to have this coming Friday, we're having our Good Friday service. We'll have 2 homilies in that service. We'll sing, and then we're actually going to end, as we did last year, in silence and let the weight of that moment just linger into Resurrection Sunday, Easter Sunday, where hopefully there'll be a big contrast with ending that service in silence on Friday, and then Sunday coming and just celebrating, just having a more joyous worship service than any other Sunday in the year, and just letting there be that huge contrast between the death and resurrection of Christ. We obviously believe the death of Christ is good news as well, but we want to feel it as they felt it in the first century and in the actual Holy Week. And a biblical illustration of this would be Passover. So future generations of Israel were to remember Passover with the booths that they were to sleep in, with unleavened bread that they were to take. And these things would actually give vivid reminders of the original Passover. And so the children would learn, and it would be powerful in discipleship and for their own souls to remember that first Passover. In a similar way, we want Holy Week to land upon us as we end a service in silence and then come into that Sunday service, He's risen, and make much of Christ. So come to the Holy Week services. Secondly, you need to read the narratives. You need to read the gospel narratives, and you need to read the Psalms of Ascent. There's 15 Psalms of Ascent. This is what the Israelites would have read as they are approaching Jerusalem for Passover. And they would have sung these actually as they ascended that hill toward Jerusalem. And Christians historically have read the Psalms of Ascent as we journey together toward that new Jerusalem. These Psalms of Ascent are important to read in this time of year to prepare us in our journey as we approach that new Jerusalem, as we remember what Christ accomplished in His death in Jerusalem. And so read the biblical narratives. And then thirdly, make much of family worship. When you're reading these biblical narratives, read them in your family as well. And I was talking to my children on Monday. We were talking about Jesus cursing the fig tree, which happened on Monday. And one of my children said, "Did that really happen on Monday?" And I was able to say, yes, it did happen on Monday. We know exactly what happened on Sunday. Jesus enters Jerusalem with the palm branches and on a donkey, and then on Monday He curses the fig tree, and we can go through, we know actually what happened on each of these days leading up to the death of Christ, to Sunday and His resurrection. Help your children feel the weight of that, the historical significance of that. This isn't a cultural holiday. This is a biblical, historical event that we're remembering and celebrating together. And that leads to the 4th thing, celebration. What we make the most of is what we're glorifying. And so if you're making most of Easter egg hunts or a family get-together or something, that's what you're glorifying. Obviously, as Christians, we want to glorify the death of Christ and what that means, and the resurrection of Christ and what that means. And so host people, bring people into your home, sing, celebrate, have feast meals, do hospitality, make much of the death and resurrection of Christ. You need that for your own soul, your children, and the church needs that type of interaction. Let's celebrate what Christ accomplished in Holy Week. Let's do that together, church. I hope this is a blessing to you. See y'all Friday.